Be strong.
Hey everyone, my name is Tony and welcome to my first YouTube video. First of all, before we start, I just want to say I hope everyone is staying safe and healthy throughout this coronavirus crisis and what we're going through. Hopefully you guys are home and spending time with family and just really taking your time off and staying safe. So let's move on to the video. I just want to say that this video is based solely on my personal experiences. So if you guys try what I did and what I advised and it didn't work, don't blame me. There's many other ways to get into college, okay? And I also think that sometimes getting to college also depends on luck. So don't blame me if anything happens. The first thing we're going to talk about is SAT scores. I'm sure you've heard from your parents or your friends and everyone's stressed about SAT and you should do good on SAT. Well, they're wrong, okay? SAT is not that important, okay? I mean, it's important, but not that important, okay? I think it's good to have a good SAT score, but you don't need to be friggin' 15 something, right? 1500 or something. I don't think that's necessary to get into a good school because obviously I got into UCLA and I only have 1330. So there must have been something else to it, right? So I want to stress that, don't worry too much about SAT. I see a lot of kids stressing about SAT. I stressed about SAT back then, but I want to tell you guys, don't stress about SAT. You guys will be fine. Just get a good score, get like a 13 or above. Don't get 13 or below. That's not going to help you. You got to get 13 or above, okay? 13 or below is not going to look good. So as long as you have a decent SAT score, you'll be set to go for the college applications. We all know another alternative for SAT is ACT. I personally don't like taking ACT as much as SAT. People say ACT is a lot easier, but for me it's just not. So I prefer the SAT more, but if you do take the ACT, it's the same thing, I don't think you need to get a very high score. Just make sure you get a good score, a decent score, roughly to the same as, a 1350 for SAT, and I think you'll be set for college applications. They don't really look for that super high score as long as you have other extracurricular activities around that. So we're talking about SAT testing, we might as well talk about AP testing. For college consideration, they don't really look at AP testing, like whether you get a 5, 4, whatever you get AP testing, they don't really take it into consideration. So the only reason you will want to take the AP test and get a good score is to be able to skip that class in college in the future. But what I realize now is that they say you get a passing score at 3, but if you get a 3 or even sometimes a 4, colleges won't accept that. Like UCLA for AP Calc, that test, you have to get a 5 to be able to skip that class. So make sure you do your research, look into the college that you want to go to, whether it's UCLA or another UC or some private school. You got to look it up and make sure that you know what score you want to hit and what you need to get to get past that class. The third test that most students take or most high schoolers take is that subject test. Now, I didn't take any subject test. I don't think it's too beneficial. But if you're going to a specific major like bio or something like that, I think it would be good to take the bio subject test, but I don't think it's mandatory. I think you can still be able to do good in college applications, but make sure it depends on your major. If you're doing a certain major, it might be good to take that subject test for that major. So make sure you do your research on that as well. I think there are 2 ways that you can get into college, whether it's UCLA, UC Irvine, UC Davis, UC Santa Cruz, or Stanford, whatever it may be, okay? I think there are 2 ways. One way is that I think people get in is usually through, I think it's kind of like jamming your way in, is by doing things academically, getting good grades in school, getting high SAT scores, like 15-something SAT scores, going to summer camps in colleges, or doing like academic activities, going to clubs, like attending all these different clubs, like what you think a perfect student is. That's people, I feel like that's people just jamming their way in, but that's a way that you can get into college, because I feel like that way is a little hard because some people just aren't great in school and people don't like to learn that much, and it's just really hard to jam your way in there. And there's so many people doing that too. A lot of people are going down that route, which is just, I don't think that dog likes me. Okay. Every time I start talking, he starts barking. Okay, I think he stopped. Okay, now, anyway, what was I talking about? Right, jamming your way through. That is one way to do it. I feel like it's jamming your way through because so many students are doing it, right? And when you're competing with everyone, like who's doing it, and everyone's doing the same thing, colleges usually pick the very top student, and it's very hard to be that very top because everyone is at that level. So I don't think that's a smart way to get into college, but it is one way. Now the second way I believe to get into college is getting a good GPA, which is very important. You have to get a good GPA. Okay, that's the similarity between these two ways. You have to get a good GPA because that tells colleges that you're actually prepared. I swear, this dog. Okay, you actually have. It shows that you're actually prepared to go to college and that you can actually succeed in their college. They want to see that. They don't want you to go and fail out. That's for sure. So you make sure you get a good GPA. That's very important. In order to achieve a higher GPA, you have to take AP classes in your high school. Now, make sure when you choose your classes, you pick the right amount of classes to take. Don't take too many classes where you can't handle the pressure. Make sure you can take the classes and get good grades, like B's or above. That's good. But you really want to hit that A. If you can get straight A's for all AP classes, then you'll have a really good GPA and you'll be set to go for college applications. And when you pick your classes, when you pick your AP classes, make sure you pick the ones that you like or you think you can handle and the things that you can actually learn. Don't pick ones that are super hard and then you can't get a good grade in that class and you end up with a C. That would look really bad on your transcript. So make sure you pick the right classes. Okay, now, but the second way, you don't really need a good SAT, like you don't need a great SAT score. You don't need a 1500 or above, okay? You should get like above 1300. So around 1350, 1330 and above. That is like a good SAT score that you can live with and you can get into, I feel like, a good college with. Okay, but the difference is that for this way, you have to write really good essays. You have to be able to live a good life, so to say. Or if you have no life, then it sucks for you. Well, but you make sure you do stuff like sports, music, do like extracurricular activities, not necessarily clubs, because a lot of students do clubs. There's no difference in that. Make sure you do something different from other people, like do something that like sports. Like I do badminton myself. I did it for 13 years and I really dedicated myself to it and I really like excelled in that. So that's what made me like different from everyone else like around me or in my community. So I think that's what, like the dogs around me, but I think that's what propelled me into UCLA because of my extracurricular activity, not really like my SAT score, which I feel like colleges don't really look at nowadays. They really want to see a variety of personality and like they want to see different people in their community, in their college. So I think it's very important. I think the second way is a lot easier to get in because, you know, you're showing who you actually are and people are actually judging you on your personality and how you behave and what your mentality is, whether it's academically or athletically like me. So I think the second way is a lot smarter. Make sure you, like for the second way, you got to do a lot of extracurricular activities, do things that you love, cooking, singing, you know, anything like that. And that will really help you in your essays when you write them. The next thing I want to talk about is recommendation letters. I think that recommendation letters are pretty important. Some people don't, but I think they're important because I think it gives the colleges a different perspective, like another person's perspective on you as a person and how you are at school, whether it's from a teacher or somebody else, like a charity owner that you did charity for. Anything like that I think is very important because it gives colleges another perspective and it really shows who you are when you interact with other people, which I think is important in college because you got to be interacting with everyone. And I think it's good to build relationships in high school with your teachers or your friends or like staff, anything like that. Any person who can write you a recommendation letter, I think it's important to build a relationship. Now I'm not talking about like giving them gift cards every once and we're like, you know, scrubbing their floors for them, or you know, don't suck up to them. Just don't suck up to them, okay? That's bad. But you know, you can talk to them in your free time, like somebody who you really get along with, like a teacher that you really get along with. For me, it was my bio teacher. I really got along with him. Like he was like one of my favorite teachers in high school, and like we talked a lot, and I spent time with him during lunch, and we just chat, and I don't know, whatever it may be. It could have been cars, or because he likes cars, or snakes. He did snake stuff, and then you know, anything that we like or we want to talk about, we just talk about just for fun. Like those moments really matter because when it comes to recommendation letters, they can really write a personal one for you instead of like a regular person who would just go to a teacher, ask for a recommendation letter, and the teacher would just copy down whatever he wrote for the last student onto for you, and then just put your name in it, and then that's about it. So you really want another teacher who, or somebody like that, who you really have a connection with, who can write you a really personal letter, like my teacher did for me. I think that's very important. The last advice I want to give you guys to get into UCLA or any school is that you have to write good essays. And I repeat, you have to write good essays. Essays are so important in college applications because that's the only way that any like college administrator can see like what kind of person you are, and that's very important to them. Okay, not just SAT scores. Nobody wants to just look at numbers all day. People want to read about you and want to know something interesting about you. So like it's very important that you really think about your essays and what you write in them. For me, I wrote good essays. That really helped me like portray my personality and show them who I really am as a person, and show them my dedication and my hard work and my drive to do something. And I think that's what really helped me get into school like UCLA. Because I didn't have a good SAT score. I had a 1330. That was below average for UCLA. And I think the only thing that got me into UCLA was my good essays, and I had a really high GPA. I had like a 4.8 UC weighted GPA. So it's really important to get a high GPA from, you know, AP class and stuff. That's very important. But essays are very important because they really portray who you are, and that's very important to the college administrators. If you guys want me to do a separate video on, you know, essays, how to write college application essays or something like that, or you know, just strategies that I use, and what to write about, what subject, like in general, you know, that you should start thinking towards, like what kind of things you should write about, anything like that, just comment down below. Let me know if you guys want to make, if you guys want me to make a video on that, and I will put that down in the agenda and we'll get that done. I want to make this video in the house because I thought everyone's being quarantined right now and everyone's just stuck in their house. I thought, you know, I'd come out in the backyard where it's, you know, little plants ones here and there, and you know, just like make it a little bright for you guys and, you know, lighten the mood a little. But it is hot and I am burning out here. I'm like a roast turkey, okay? Thank you for watching, guys. This is the end of my first YouTube videos. If you guys liked it, drop a like button, click the subscribe button, and comment down below. Let me know if you guys want me to do that video on the essay, how to write the essay, and the tricks that I learned to write the essay, or anything you want to tell me. Just comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.